Hope these guys can hear me. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 7:30, y'all. I'm about to talk about some stuff. All right. And now, all right. I think we're ready. Hi, Evelyn. Oh, this is also my first YouTube live, and now I'm going live on Instagram. Okay. All right, so we are just getting started. And Evelyn, I feel like you're going to know all this stuff already because you're already in the programs. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Hey, Keisha. Hi, y'all. So let's get let's get started. If you are currently joining me on Instagram, hello. If you're currently joining me on YouTube, I can see your comments as well. This is my first YouTube live, but not my first Instagram live. It's not like the same. It's not different. I don't know why I'm making it such a big deal. It's anyway. But hey, y'all. So happy that y'all could join me today. Hey, Rachel. So I really want to jump into this content because I have some things planned. And as we go through it, if you have any questions at all, feel free to just put them down inside the comment box wherever you are. And I'm going to be sure to put them in there. To answer them. And so we're going to be talking about the 3 mistakes that you're probably making with content, and we're going to talk about how to fix it. And I thought about this because I spent so much time talking about adding value, and I'm not the only person. I feel like that's like the industry keyword, adding value, but no one really knows what that means. No one really knows how to really do it. We just kind of give you bits and pieces, but we don't really tell you okay, don't do that, don't do that, do more of this, right? And so hopefully I'm going to help y'all kind of put that inside, put that more into perspective, kind of put you on the right track of your content creation strategy. And so let's start out with the first one. And the first one is not tying any of your content towards what you offer. And so I'm such a big fan of that because I believe, hey, Stephanie. And so I believe in creating content in a way that is you can use it many ways. And so I am so against creating content just because someone else creating the same thing. Just because someone else has some kind of I don't know, some kind of branding template, you don't have to have the same thing. And so, especially if it's something that you don't really want to add to your service, bank. And so I believe that we should all have content that is tied towards some kind of content. So whether or not you do, towards some kind of service. And so whether or not you do hair, or you provide photography services, or you do makeup, anything like that, that service should tie towards that. And so the point of content is really to put them in a funnel. The reason why I believe that content should be used for many things is because at the end of the day, it should be used so that you can take someone from point A to point B. And if you don't have if you don't have a point B, and you're just spending a lot of time and they're kind of watching your stuff or reading your stuff and okay, how can you help me? I don't really understand. Do you even offer this service? And you're probably sitting there well, I'll take anything. And we don't want them to feel like you're just going to make up a package or make up a service just to get their money. That's not how you build a community. And I want this year to be a year of content and community. And so and so that is that's the first one. So the second point that I want to make is I want you to be so specific in your content to where you are creating content because it's what your people want, not what you want. I spent so much time. That was one mistake that I made all the time. I thought that I was so cool when I launched Jadix Media. I was I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make these YouTube videos. I'm gonna have all this stuff. And it didn't really make sense because I didn't have a service for some of the things that I was teaching. Well, then now I do, but I was doing videos, very high very high production videos that were telling people how to, like, get to their first 100 email subscribers, or get to their first like how to do like lead mags and stuff. And I didn't really have a package for that. Like about I think that was like 3 years ago. I didn't have a package for that yet. Like, why was I spending so much time on that? Like, now I do, and that's kind of content that I should have been making now and not before. Back like about 3 years ago, I was doing more so social media management. So maybe I should have been doing a lot more helping people get to that stage of their journey, to where I can kind of take them and help them along. So like maybe things like social media templates, or maybe like guides that help them, maybe guys to help them like write captions better. Like that should have been content that I would have was making, but I was making content that I thought would immediately make me into an industry expert. And that's another thing that we want to kind of be aware of, is like, I believe that in order for us to make sales on social media, we have got to be an expert in our field, or we have to be a perceived expert in our field. But expert can be different things. Like, just because someone else is an expert in something doesn't mean that you have to be the same. And so I was doing things where I was like, well, I have to do like these types of videos because everyone that I like look up to are making these same videos, but I wasn't really there yet. And I don't want you to just make videos just because you think that it's like it checks a checkbox in like your career that you have to do that right now. You don't. I want you to ask your audience. I want you to be in tune with your ideal customer, and I want you to ask them what kind of things that they want to learn about. What is their biggest struggle in whatever that you can solve them with? If you're a photographer, what is their biggest struggle in in getting like brand photos, like things like that? I really want you guys to be a little bit more intentional about that, because I know I am, especially this year. And so I think so. Another point that I wanted to make was, when I was doing that, I was working twice as hard and not making anything, because I didn't have a service to help that. And I didn't have any way to collect anyone's email. I didn't have any way to put them in a funnel. I was just making content and just thinking that people were going to like show up. And I don't know why I have that fan on right now. It's fine. And so I want you to try to make content that answers those questions of people and what they're struggling with right now. And I mentioned this inside my webinar a few days ago. And so some things that I do is like, I not only like poll the audience, and when I mean polling, not like, you don't have to send them a survey monkey asking them like 10 billion questions. Just ask them like just the one question, the magic question. What is your biggest struggle with blank? And that is going to be that's going to help you so much. Or think about whenever you have discovery calls, or when you meet with clients one-on-one, what are those main questions that people are asking? And then I want you to write those down and then make content from them. Like, how can you take these people that barely know you and position them to being your ideal client? That's what content does. The content is used to position them or transform them into your ideal client, or to qualify them as such. And so I want you to think about that a little bit more. So think a little bit more meta, think a little bit more, don't think high level about your content, think more meta. So think more about like, what is this particular problem that they're having, and how can I use content to help them feel like I'm giving them a really quick win, I'm really solving their problems, or like thinking that I could solve their problems, a bigger problem later on down the road. I hope that makes sense. Like, y'all give me some hearts or something if that makes sense. On YouTube, y'all let me know if this makes sense. Oh, my mom is on the live, y'all. Say hello to my mama. Wednesday was her birthday. And so the third thing that I really, really want to touch base on is, we think that our audience is going to get tired of us repeating the same thing over and over and over. And that's why most people don't even know. So whenever I talk to them, they're like, well, Jamar, like, what do I talk about? I've already done things that I have to do. And I'm like, say it again. Say it again. Do it more. Say it in different ways. And it's very, very easy to do that. There's this thing called the rule of seven, meaning that you have to have typically it takes like 7 touch points for you to like make a sale. And that's like kind of how advertising works. That's why you have to see something more than once to kind of like be sold on it. And that's how even online marketing works. People have to see things more than once. They have to see it in different ways. And that even helps them kind of know a little bit more about you if they see more of a human side to you and an expert side to you. It isn't just like, I know this thing. It's I know this thing, and I'm also someone that you really can trust, and and someone that you would really enjoy working with, because I'm not like everyone else. I am specifically for you. Like, I am your ideal contractor or freelancer or partner, and you are my ideal client. And we are going to make amazing things together. And that's kind of like how content makes people think. Like, you want people to watch your content, listen to your content, read your content, and you want them to be able to think, I need to send him a DM, or I need to talk to her real quick. Like, I need to work with her or him right now. I know that they can help me. And also, let's see what else. I feel like I'm like running through all this, y'all, but I don't want to waste anyone's time. Uh, let's see, what else do I have to say? So I feel like I know I said I know I said 3 things, but I feel like I have like 5 things I really want to talk about. So, I think, has anyone heard of like the spray and pray? Like, I feel like we do that a lot, to where we think about our content as like, okay, I did this, I did that. Oh shoot, now I should post it. And that's what I call it, like spray and pray. Like, you're just posting randomly throughout like the month, and then you complain when nothing happens, and because you're not really being consistent. And this is another thing that we kind of get confused about, is consistency. And I'm not saying that you have to post every day in order to be consistent. It means you just have to show up whenever you can show up, and like, you're making an effort of showing up. So maybe you can't do once a day. Maybe you can do 3 times a week of really, really good, valuable content that really speaks to your ideal customer. They'll love it. Maybe you just can do Instagram stories if you're trying to use Instagram for that. And so, just don't feel like you have to post three times a day or post every day if you can't keep up. Being consistent really just means showing up on a consistent basis that makes sense for you. So, of course, like, you shouldn't be posting once a month. That isn't going to help you. That isn't going to help you, especially if you're a service-based business, where if, like, what is that saying, where out of sight, out of mind. For service-based businesses, like, if you're not showing up, people forget about you. Like, you don't know, like, they don't think about you all the time, right? And so you have to be able to show up consistently with really good content, not just like a picture of your work, not just a client testimonial all the time, but something that really makes them remember you, makes them like really speak to their heart. And so I went through those like 3 or 4 things. I think it's 4 things about how to, like, what mistakes we're making, like, not tying content to offering. So my example for that was, I was doing email content like 3 years ago, and I didn't have an email product to give to people. Like, and versus me doing like social media, like specific things, because I was managing social media accounts for people. I should be doing content that would assist me to get that sale that way. And making content that you want to make, not content people want. So rethink how you're making content now. Is are you just so think about, are you just making content because it makes you feel good, or are you making content because it helps your actual customer? If the answer is that you're making content because it just makes you feel good, it makes you feel cool, stop it. Look at your ideal customer, figure out what they like, figure out what they need to know from you and how you can help them, and go from there. Oh, and the third mistake is, you think your audience will get tired of hearing the same thing over and over. That is not true. Get that out of your head. They need to hear it more than once. The same way how, you don't always do this. Like, I'm sure you don't always do things that you're told the first time. I know I don't. I don't ever take anything that I see on the internet seriously the first time that I see it. And so you really have to sell these things to people. You have to really position yourself as the expert. You have to show people that you know what you're talking about. And the fourth like bonus mistake that I want to give you guys is that don't is that we spray and pray. We just randomly post and we just do things that are just like very haphazard, like where we just post and we're like we don't have a plan for anything. We just post it and just go. And so I want to give you two. It's okay, Akita. There'll be a replay, girl. You always show up for me anyway. It's okay for you to be a little bit late. But so the two ways that I encourage you all to fix that is have a plan. I want you to have a strategy of what you want to post. That sounds when I say strategy, that sounds like so overwhelming and so big, but it really isn't. I just want you to list out the things that you want to post or the content ideas that you want to talk about for the week, for the month, for the quarter, whatever makes you the most comfortable. How like whatever kind of person you are, do that. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, but I just want you to have some kind of structure so that you're not just posting random stuff because you think that you need to show up for people or they're going to forget about you. And so think of like your content touch points and map out those things that your idle customer will want to know. And a content touch point is just how you are going to be communicating to them. Is it going to be through email marketing, YouTube content, your podcast, social media posts, like, and then just map out what you want to say in those. And so I think last week I talked about that inside the webinar where we have content ideas and then you put it into a actual content calendar. So you have this bank of ideas that you just have stored because you have been looking at your audience and you've been taking all the questions in, and now you need to kind of be a little bit more specific and use that content and make something that you can actually put out into the world. And so I actually, let me see, Stephanie says, what would be the minimum times a week? I say I would look at your schedule and see what you can do. Maybe try at least maybe if you are really busy and you just do not think that you can post at all, girl, maybe two to three times a week, but then do like a few stories in between of that. And that's like bare minimum. Maybe that will be bare minimum for you. I think that's doable by anybody. I think that will be very, very helpful. Patty on YouTube. Hey, Patty. She says, I used to plan out my Instagram so carefully and made it beautiful, but I got less and less reach, and the community has changed so much over the last 12 to 18 months. I kind of have given up on it. Oh, no, 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 no. Patty, what I would do for you is not focus on making your content beautiful, but focus on look at your Instagram and look at your Instagram analytics. I think you have a business account on Instagram. Look at your analytics and then see what kind of content is performing the highest, and then make more of that. So so don't focus so much up on the aesthetics, but focus up on you have a business and person. Okay, so look at your business page and then look at the insights and see what kind of content, and then see what kind of content is performing the best as far as engagement, and then make more of that, and then test it out for like 7 to 10 days and see if anything changes from there. All right, and so let's see. So the first thing is planning, and then the second fix I have for you all is to engage more. Like I know I said, so you know how we just spray and pray, but we also post and ghost. We post and ghost so much. I know I was guilty of that back in the day. I just thought, hey, it's I just like post this thing and like I'll like a few things before and call it a day. But that's not how social media works, right? If you're posting, I want you to try to be there engaging with your post after maybe like 30 minutes of it. And so no more posting and ghosting. We always talk about how the algorithm is out to get us and how no one's seeing our posts, but we're not really contributing to the conversation at all. And so we can't really always blame Instagram or YouTube, can we? We have to put some effort into our own marketing. We can't just rely on